Hello everyone, and welcome to the series premiere of Star Trek Euthenia. My name is ELH, the Game Master, and I'm bringing you, along with these other lovely players, an actual play of Star Trek Adventures, a 2D20 rule set system from Modiphius Entertainment. If you've never experienced Star Trek Adventures before, or you have sort of a role-play background and you've always wondered, hey, how do I play Star Trek with dice? Definitely would recommend the Star Trek Adventures system. But I will be doing my best to sort of give a little bit insight into what roles and everything are like. But everybody here is a veteran player, so if you're looking to get sort of a how to play Star Trek Adventures, I would actually recommend going to check out my other series, Arcadia and Ophion, which are available on my YouTube. Which chances are, if you're watching this, you're either live on Twitch or on YouTube anyway, so should be easy to find. But regardless, a few things to say before we get started. So, in terms of tone of this game, it will be a little bit darker, a little bit more gritty than my other campaigns. The reason for such will become apparent during play. I don't want to spoil anything for the viewers quite yet, but basically there's going to be a lot of hard choices and a lot of challenging scenarios is how I'll put it. So we'll just have to see how the players shape out. Other announcement is that if you are looking for a continuing narrative a la DS9 or even Voyager, at least to some respects, you are going to get that with Euthenia. We will sort of have a continuing narrative that will transist throughout each episode, but hopefully still one of those things where you can just drop in, watch an episode, and drop out if you wanted to. But, last announcement is that this is not the only series premiere of Star Trek Adventures goodness on the channel. This Saturday at 5 p.m. we will have the series premiere of Star Trek Lesser Halls, and that will be a Lower Decks campaign featuring a few lovely individuals that I see in chat right now. Definitely recommend checking that out because they are entirely brand new to not only Star Trek Adventures, but some to role-playing in general, so it should be a good time all around. But that's enough from me. Let's go around and have everyone introduce themselves, starting with the captain.
Hey guys, I'm Aaron. A lot of you may know me as other characters, maybe Draxus, Monday Nights, Motley Heights, maybe in past campaigns as Dr. Dotig / Commander Dotig. Tonight, I'm playing another returning character, although this time it's Captain rather than Commander. It's Captain R.J. Williams from Fenrir, now promoted and scared to death, but we'll see how it goes. I'm super excited to be here. I'm just kidding, guys. It's great to be here. Thanks for coming along, and if you want to talk about it, hit Dag up at Trek Nexus.
There you go. Yeah, got him already.
Bingo.
Watney, you're up next in the order.
I'm next. I'm Watney. You know me from Congo as Alel. I am bringing back Steko. She is the commander, Commander Steko, and she's a half human, half betazoid empath, and she will be serving the ship as the executive officer to Captain Williams, and you will know her from October.
You're next, Wolf.
Hello, everyone. My name is Darewolf, DarewolfGaming88 on Twitter and Twitch. I am playing a brand new character, a Cation Chief Science Officer named Commander Saras, or just Russ for short. You may know me from Motley Heights as Sergeant Nicholas T. I've also been in a number of other ELH Star Trek streams, including Bastet, as well as the Mata Hari, and I am beyond thrilled to be here. So let's get weird.
And we're super happy to have you. Everybody, I'm Dag. You know me from like the last 4 ELH Tuesday night Star Trek games. Dr. Ray Razib sends his regards. He's in surgery. So today I am Lieutenant JG Lance Corey, sir. And we'll see how the rest of this game goes. Also, if you want to talk about it, hit me up on Twitter at Panorama Tint.
There you go. There you go. All right, well, as is tradition when we do Star Trek Adventure streams, we're going to have the players do an opening log, and Captain, I believe that's going to come from you today, so take it away.
Captain's log, stardate 97008.2. Under orders from Fleet Admiral Ignitrix, the Akagi has returned to Deep Space October and I'm to select a few officers for a temporary assignment aboard a Cation-built Aspero-class cruiser carrier, the USS Euthenia. Our mission is to test the ship's micro-wormhole generator to determine if spacefaring vessels larger than shuttlecraft and small starships can safely utilize this technology as a means of interstellar travel. I'm told Euthenia is ideally suited to the rigors of micro-wormhole travel, at least theoretically, due to its advanced hull plating designed by one Commander Rash. The Commander will act as my chief engineer for the duration of the experiment. In addition, I've chosen my XO, Commander Arzu Stetko, and my CMO, Major Razib, to round out my command staff. A Cation specialist will also come aboard, Commander Saro Karis. I'm sure I butchered his name, and I'll have to clarify pronunciation when I meet him. I've been assured that the crew and ship are ready, though the demand by Starfleet Command for an experienced carrier command staff makes me wonder. Judging from these reports, only the hull plating, experimental railgun, and fighter and bomber wings are operational. No phasers, no photon torpedoes. The ship itself is beautiful, but honestly, I'd take a fully functioning Hulk over an unfinished work of art. Why they need this test cleared ASAP and not after a further 6 months in dry dock is beyond me. I'm hoping to learn more from the Admiral when I meet with her later. One thing's for certain, though. After 2 years of tactical ops and a near constant hurry up and wait, I'm ready for a change of pace, even a short one. End log.
Nice. You may have one momentum for that opening log. So, as I let the music play out, we're going to go to the Euthenia's ready room, where we see one R.J. Williams seated behind his desk. And in general, I'm curious, do you have anything special in your ready room at this current juncture? Any works of art, any affectations, things of that nature?
There are 2 items, perhaps, that folks' eyes would be drawn to in the ready room. The first being a scale model of Apollo 11. The second being an encased in glass 19th century concertina, along with many wall hangings depicting Luna in some way, shape, or form.
So, Captain Williams, you're kind of sitting through a bunch of pads going over all the reports, and everything that you're seeing so far keeps indicating what you just said in your log, that you have barely functioning anything on this ship. Worst case is you could maybe stand in the way of people getting shot and tank shots, but yeah, if this ship gets in a tactical scenario, you're gonna have to get creative. But as you sort of contemplate that and try to figure out how to even deal with that, there is a chime at your ready room door.
Come in.
And in steps a recurring character in my universe who should be of no surprise, but Fleet Admiral Ignitrix, in all of her blue uniformed glory, steps in and sort of takes a look around at the ready room and goes, nice and quaint. I like the model over there in the corner.
Oh, Admiral. And Williams will stand.
Oh, no need.
Oh, please have a seat.
And Ignitrix sits down, produces a pad, and basically says, so officially, this is me delivering your orders to test the micro-wormhole generator in conjunction with a subspace compression anomaly, but unofficially, I'm here to probably answer a lot of questions you have about why we're doing this so rapidly and without a lot of preparation.
Well, Admiral, if I can speak freely.
Of course.
Why now? Why not 6 months from now? 8, 12?
Are you familiar at all with relations with the Klingon Empire right now?
I know they've been tenuous since the armistice.
Let's just say that some very high-positioned personnel, even beyond me, believe that a war with the Klingons is imminent, that the armistice will not last in the coming years. which means we need new technology that will allow us to force deploy in a rapid fashion and give us that edge over the Klingons. Unfortunately, that's why you're getting pushed up. Initially, the Euthenia here was scheduled to be out of space dock another 8 months from now, but we need to have this test done as soon as possible.
Well, I understand the importance, but Admiral, let me just say that people who exist expecting a fight usually find a way to find one.
I'm of a full agreement on that matter. Unfortunately, I am but one single fleet admiral, and I get outvoted. So that's kind of actually why I gave you, specifically, prime choice of candidates for this mission. While, of course, we're expecting you to transition through the micro wormhole and end up somewhere near another deep space station, certain Captain Lee is currently stationed at, we did want to have you all prepared in case something worse happens.
Something worse? Can you elaborate?
Well, with any wormhole, it's never really 100% sure that you'll get spat out in the correct location.
Right. Well, I'll just say that if we get into a situation where we have to fight, it would be nice to have a good, hefty pile of rocks to throw at them.
And she smiles and says, well, I actually did come with a welcoming gift. I know you're going to laugh at it, but there's actually a nuclear warhead, just, from the NX era, that used to be on one of the initial ships that was in the first battle of the Earth-Romulan War. I brought it out of storage and put it in your stores. Your logistics officer was very happy to see it. He swore up and down that he'd never use it, but you do have it if you need it.
I hope I'll never have to. Well, I suppose I should say thank you.
If anything, I wouldn't blame you for yelling at me, because a nuke against anything at this technology level probably isn't going to do much. But consider also a token of faith in your mission, that your mission will go well and we won't ever have to use it.
The symbology is not lost on me, Admiral, but you may be overestimating my abilities in tactical situations. I mean, in every situation I've been in thus far, I've had functioning weapons.
Why does that remind me of a certain movie where I'm supposed to say I have the high ground and you argue with me? That's not relevant. But yes.
And I don't hate you at all, Admiral.
I'm glad we were on the same wavelength there. But is there any other questions I can answer you before I give you your 2-hour window before the experiment begins?
Just one. What diplomatic efforts are we making to maintain the peace with the Klingons?
Ironically enough, I actually bullied a certain Captain X-Ambassador that used to be on Deep Space October. You might know Ambassador Kijwick. Might ring a bell.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Well, trust me, it took a lot of bottles of Andorian Kosh and a lot of Bolian drinks I couldn't even begin to pronounce, but we got him on the lines right now, so we're hoping that Kijwick will do good work.
Well, I hope so too. I'd hate to see... Well, I'd hate to see Zald take its ball and go home again.
Yeah, that... I mean, it's not going to really affect us out here on the frontier on the opposite side of the quadrant, but yeah, I do feel that it is kind of our responsibility to do what we can. Oh, I lied. There is one other thing. Where did I put it? And she kind of goes through her pockets and tries to look around. Where did I... I know where it is. And she actually takes the pad that she was holding. She opens up the back, and inside is a old Earth-style $2 bill, like in real life $2 bill. And she kind of uncreases it, kind of steams it a little bit, and then hands it to you and says, I don't know how much stock you put in further traditions, but It is said, at least on Earth, that carrying around a $2 bill is extremely lucky. So I thought I'd give you one as well.
Oh, this is thoughtful. Is this replicated or?
No, it's real. From vaguely, if I remember the printing date, 1973. Which out of character is probably out of date, but who knows.
Admiral, this probably belongs in a museum.
Oh, trust me, there's a lot of things that I have on hand that should belong in a museum, but it's more fun when they're in use.
Well, how about this? I'll give it back to you the next time I see you.
I'll hold you to that promise. And at that, the Fleet Admiral stands up and extends a hand across the desk.
Yeah, no, he'll stand up and shake.
Good luck out there, Captain, and whenever you come back around to DSO after the experiment, drinks on me.
Thank you, sir.
And at that, Ignitrix smiles and steps out.
And I think at that, you'll see William sort of sink back to the chair, sort of looking at the dollar bill before setting it aside and going back to his pads.
So, we are now going to transition to one of the main set pieces that we're going to see a lot of here. And it is the actual bridge of the Euthenia. Now, to even begin to describe this for my audio listeners, I honestly would recommend doing your best to just take a snippet of a screen, just glance at it once or twice, because this bridge is immaculate. The main bridge is actually separated into 2 levels, and there's enough space between the levels that you could probably put a full basketball hoop. They're that large. But the upper level, the second level, is where the captain sits, where main engineering sits, where science sits, where helm and tactical sit. And underneath the second level, it's sort of a raised walkway. Underneath that raised walkway on the main level are where all the carrier ops are located. So all of the pilots that are getting coordinated, all of the flight control officers, all of the engineers there, that's where they sit. And then to the extreme left and the extreme right on balconies are further stations for everything from quantum mechanics to spatial anomalies to almost every single facet of science that you could hope to expect to experience on a carrier has dedicated consoles for that. But the reason we're going to the bridge is because Commander Stetko and Commander Rash are currently going through a final bit of checklist before a certain captain comes checking in on them. One thing I forgot to do, and when Williams comes back on screen, we'll have Williams do it again. But tell us a little bit about what Stetko looks like, and then I'll handle Rash, and then we'll jump into the scene proper.
Sure. So Stetko is half human, half betazoid. So she has like midnight black eyes, and dark brown brunette hair. It's typically braided to the side or behind her. She probably stands about, 5'7", 5'8". She has quite an athletic build. She was the former station chief security officer for October, so she spent her whole life in the tactical field. And I would say she has a very honest and forthcoming disposition.
Noted. And Commander Rash, for those of you who tuned into Congo, she's a recurring character, but for those who are new, Commander Rash is definitely on the shorter side. She kind of is like 4'8" in a dream, but she has sort of this stark red hair, golden eyes, a smile that never quits whenever she's not yawning. And she also has on goggles, which would seem out of place at first, but anyone who sees her working for any amount of time would know that that's sort of her augmented reality, where she can sort of view holograms and view system readouts without actually having to manipulate anything. But Commander Rash just sort of stretches and yawns and goes, sorry, Commander Stetko. Polarized hull plating seems to be all right. I mean, I've gone over it about 4 times in the last 24 hours. It seems to be up to code. Well, the code I wrote, so take that as you will.
Isn't that a bit like grading your own homework, Commander?
Well, Honestly, I don't know that I'd trust anyone else to check it at this point.
I trust you.
That's good. That's good. Sorry. What? And she kind of shakes the sleep from her head. What else do I need to check here?
Well, I guess we can go down the major checklists. Life support.
Life support has been boosted.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Oh, good, because I don't know the Heimlich maneuver. I wouldn't know how to. Right, that was a joke. Sorry, went over my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So life support's good.
Maneuvering, everything good there. Maneuvering systems.
Yeah. I'd like to report that the EPS conduits, we've triple and double checked their reinforcements, so that's good.
Excellent. Navigation and astrometrics, everything green there.
And at this, Rash actually looks past Stetko at a certain red shirt sitting at the console. Hey, red shirt, whose name I don't know yet. How are things looking there at the helm?
Pretty good. Sir.
Okay. Also, you don't need to lean forward, Dag. You're good where you're at normally with the new game.
Is he up on the second level with them?
You are, yes. So to sort of describe the second level a little bit more, so the second level terminates in a circular sort of depression, and Commander Stetko and the captain, you're sort of in the middle of that space, and along the outer edge of that circle is where there are stations for Helm and Tactical. Helm is to your left if you're seated in the big chair.
So would he be like all the way down at like
No, he's still on the second level with you. He's just at the very end.
I just mean like all the way by the stairs, kind of.
Oh, no. He's literally like, you could reach out and touch the back of someone sitting
Oh, dang it, because it'd be funny if they were like, hello!
Well,
Anyway,
if you want to yell at the carrier people, you kind of have to lean over the balcony and yell at them, but...
Okay. Okay, so, are you Ensign, Lieutenant?
Lieutenant JG Lance Corey, sir.
Lieutenant Corey, are you ready for our departure?
Yes, sir. I familiarized with myself with all of the really awesome maneuvering techniques this ship can do. Sir, looking forward to it. Sir.
Okay, you can cool it on the sirs, Lieutenant.
Okay.
Anyway, Rash, emergency bulkheads.
Except for one random on Deck 21, Section 3. Yeah, they're all working.
One random bulkhead is calling in sick?
Or like it's already activated. We don't know why.
Alright, well, I guess you should probably get one of your guys on that.
Oh, I already have several people on it, in fact. Shouldn't be a problem, though. I mean, it's just blocking off access to one of the toilets, so it's not like we're going to need emergency toilets or anything.
Okay. Two more things here. It looks like the structural integrity field's been rigged for transit.
Yep. It's going to be better than the Fleet Admiral's flagship that's sitting out there floating around DSO right now.
Who knows what secrets are on that ship?
I kind of don't want to know. Every time I hear about the Fleet Admiral, she's got some new doodad from some new place in time, and the less I have to deal with the Department of Temporal Investigations, the better.
All right. Lastly, the micro wormhole generator coils. Everything looking good there?
She kind of scratches the back of her head. That's the thing. On one hand, I know this is going to give us sort of the Midas capabilities, but I don't know. I mean, a lot of this experiment is based on woulda, coulda, shouldas, or speculation. I mean, yeah, we've sent shuttles through it that Dorothy's piloted, but we haven't sent anything this large. I mean, the science checks out. It should work.
Wasn't there a ship recently that had one of these?
Yeah, the original Congo had it, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I suppose that's the point of a test. So if everything else is green.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's not green, though, is the captain there. And yeah, is at this point that Mr. Williams, if you could give us your brief description as you walk along the gangplank, as it were, towards Setko and Rash.
Yeah, sure. Williams is he's a human, just shy of 6 feet. He's rather lanky, so he's a little, gangly looking. Maybe a little bit more like Saru, but is outwardly very friendly looking, but he does have a very focused expression on his face, which can contrast with his relaxed posture. But that's about it.
Well, of course, as you approach, some of the ensigns and some of the lieutenants do kind of salute you, but as you get up to Rash just kind of yawns, not in defiance, but just in general. He goes, "All right, Captain, how you doing?"
I'm good, Commander. Thank you. Are you? Well, that's a silly question. I read your file. I know you're not well rested, but are you functional?
Well, there's a fine line between functional and sleep deprived, and that's what this baby's here for. And she pats a thermos next to her, and you can probably guess what's inside the thermos.
Is that more of that just super coffee that you drink?
Double strength, yeah.
Double strength today. So not quadruple? I've read you have a penchant for those.
The quadruples for special occasions.
So the launch of this experiment isn't special?
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. It's special. It's just, I don't want to be, it's weird. When I do a quadruple, I'm up for like 72 hours, and that's not good for anybody.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, yeah, maybe stick to doubles for now. Commander Setko, what's our status?
Green across the board. As far as I know, we had a slight out of office bulkhead, but it sounds like Rash's crew is taking care of it.
All right, I trust that it'll be. Where is this bulkhead?
Deck 21, Section 3, sir. It is blocking the men's toilet, if it matters.
No, not terribly. As long as it's not obstructing any critical systems, I think we're okay.
Well, I would argue that people needing to use the restroom might consider it to be important, but no, I've got a team on it. Not a mission-critical team, but a team all the same.
Well, that's all I need to hear. Well, we've got... And he'll ask the computer for the time. Jim, what's our time to launch?
You've got about an hour and 30 minutes, but I think this is an excellent opportunity to introduce Dorothy. So as you ask the computer for the time, materializing before you, Captain, is a 6-foot-tall hologram of a white-haired woman that has sort of a mixture between a Starfleet uniform and like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. So it's kind of a fusions of styles that on anyone else it would be really, really weird. But this is Dorothy. This is the AI that Congo found or came into being on the Congo, for those of you that remember that. But Dorothy materializes as a hologram, looks around and says, "Oh, I always like materializing here. It's always so lovely." Oh, yes, Captain. You have 1 hour and 30 minutes before the experiment. I would also tell you that your 3 o'clock is scheduled to arrive in Transporter Room 4 in approximately 5 minutes.
Oh, well, then I should get there. Thank you, Dorothy. I'd completely forgotten.
Oh, of course. Would you like me to give you further updates? I do need your permission to pop up now and again.
Of course.
Very well. And Dorothy just sort of smiles and then winks out, like a normal hologram would.
Well, I'll be in Transporter Room 1, Commander. You have the bridge. Carry on.
So, we now go to the transporter room. And do not worry about that, chat. I do know that you guys have 2 complications stored up right now. That will come out when it is a good time for them. But for the time being, we're just sort of banking them. But they will be spent, don't worry. But yeah, we go to Transporter Room 4, where, Williams, you arrive on the scene just as someone very important, or at least, hopefully important, is beaming in. And Mr. Wolf, if you can introduce the commander for us.
Now you're muted.
Muted. There it is, as is tradition. Commander Saras is a Cation science officer. He's about middle age, not like super old for Cation, not super young, just middle age. But his hair is all started to gray, so he has the appearance of being like an elder. But when he speaks, he has a younger sounding voice. He has a prehensile tail that is flicking back and forth very excitedly as he transports onto the transporter pad. And Captain, I assume, is that correct?
Yes, and you would be Commander Karras? I'm sorry, I'm not...
Russ. You may call me Russ. Most of my human compatriots do.
Russ it is. Well, Commander Russ, welcome aboard, and Williams will step forward and offer a hand.
So Russ will step forward, take the hand, and as he does so, you see that he has a tricorder in his tail that's being held, and he's already starting to make scans around the room. And I must tell you, Captain, it is an absolute honor to have been selected for this maiden voyage, as it were. I do understand that the ship is not quite completed. Is that correct?
Yes, quite so. Many of our defensive systems aren't operational yet, although we shouldn't need them.
No, we will not need any defensive systems. This is not a war game, as it were. I believe that is the term that the Federation uses. With that being said, I must tell you I am beyond thrilled. However, I do not mean to be rude. I wish to begin my analysis of the ship systems to ensure that the Cation and Federation technology is, communicating with one another correctly, or bonding, as it were.
Of course, Commander. If you'll come with me, I'll bring you to your station on the bridge, unless you'd like to relax in your quarters. We've got an hour and a half.
The tricorder is just doing like a huge circle around, and it's just like scanning. His tail is abnormally long. And no, Captain, straight to the bridge. I have seen some mock-ups and photos of it. I hear it is breathtaking.
It certainly is breathtaking. You'd have to scream yourself hoarse to be heard across its length, but you'll see for yourself.
I actually have a solution for that, but we will discuss it later.
Very good. I think Captain Williams will escort Commander Saras to the bridge.
Towards the bridge, the Commander, Russ, is just like almost giddy. Not giggling per se, but you can see he's very excited. The tail is flicking around. He's taking scans. He has a data pad out. He's just like looking at everything with like a child in a candy shop. Just super excited to be here.
Moments later, you guys are back on the bridge, and you see that Rash has gone over to the engineering side of the bridge, and Saras, you and Williams are kind of coming in the main way, so you would see that the timer at this point has started to tick down. You've got maybe about an hour before the experiment is ready.
And I think at this... Oh, sorry, Wolf, were you going to say something?
No, Commander, I just meant to say that you were not lying when we agreed that this was breathtaking. It is so large. However, I do believe we will have trouble communicating with each other at such long distances. I believe I do have a solution for that. If we reset the polar... He's just going to kind of go on a little tangent, and as he says this, he's actually going to wander off towards the science station and continue the conversation with himself.
And I think at that, though, as Williams sort of sees him and he's talking... Williams' intention is to bring him down to introduce him to his first officer, but seeing that he's in, he'll just sort of gently, grab him by the arm. This way, if you will, Commander.
Oh, forgive me, Commander. I get lost with myself. I am just never content in one place.
No, I love that enthusiasm, but first, there's somebody I need you to meet.
Of course.
And they'll walk down, and Williams will just sort of look at Stetko and say, Commander Stetko, this is Commander Saras.
Commander, it is a pleasure to meet you. Commander Saras. Extends hand.
Pleasure is mine. And she'll extend her hand to
There is something I have always appreciated about human culture. It is to one-up the other when you are greeting. I said that I was excited to meet you, and you said the pleasure was yours. And I just find it delightful, the back and forth that you humans do with one another. It is... fascinating.
Well, I'm only half human, so perhaps I only half one-upped you.
Oh, And more of the humor. I will learn this. I will learn this, and we will have great rapport. I promise you this.
Well, I'm sure this expedition could use a more science-oriented mind, so you're certainly welcome aboard.
And, well, Commander, if you'd like to take your station, I know you're eager to get started.
Thank you, Captain. He'll give a little salute and prehensile tail, holding the tricorder, data pads in both hands. He's going to make his way over to his science station. Boop.
So real quick, because I already see some questions in chat about it. So the way the bridge is laid out, obviously there's big spaces between the sciences and the main bridge and the engineering. The way I'm imagining is that either there's just always a constant channel open so that everybody can hear everybody, or it's one of those situations where you actually relay through like some red shirts that are next to the captain. That way you sort of have command over your own arena. But you also are not sort of in crowding the main space where the captain and the first officer and the helm, all those people sit. It's a Cation design. Whether or not it's efficient, I leave to you all to decide. But before we skip ahead,
because we have better hearing and we can hear each other in large spaces. It's a human problem, not a Cation problem.
There you go. Fair point. Fair point.
Well, I can feel your emotions across the bridge. How about that?
There you go. All right, well, before we skip ahead to the experiment, did anybody want to do anything before we do skip ahead?
Stucco would check in with the captain.
Okay.
Just briefly. So I would imagine she kind of like meanders down the way to meet him. She's like, so, Ignitrix.
Yeah.
Anything I need to know?
Well, there seem to be some minds at Starfleet Command that think that we're on another collision course with the Klingon Empire. This experiment is to get the brass force projection capabilities that outmatch the Klingons. I'm not thrilled about that.
I don't like the idea, of going through all that again. I'm sure you don't either.
Hardly.
So, what'd she get you?
$2 bill and some thinly veiled attitude.
A $2 bill?
Supposedly lucky. I've never heard of that, and I come from Sol.
Is that... What is that?
Old Earth currency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it real?
Apparently so. Apparently it's, 400 years old.
Weren't those made of paper?
It's in perfect condition. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna frame it in glass, and I'm gonna give it back to her when we see her again. But apparently I should have it in the ready room because it's good luck.
Okay. Well, good luck, right?
I mean, a few dozen light years in a couple of seconds. I don't see what luck we'll need, but I'll take whatever I can get.
Experimental is experimental. It's no different than when I was on October.
That's fair. Oh. You
All right.
ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. And I think with that, Williams will take his station on the bridge and just wait.
Commander Suras to the captain.
Go ahead, Russ.
You look fantastic sitting in the captain's chair, sir. Just wanted you to know it seems to fit you.
Appreciated, Commander.
Suras out. Boop, boop.
Yeah, Captain, I just really want to appreciate that you selected me for this mission. I've never been at the helm controls of this amazing ship before, and I can't wait to get out there.
No, you're very welcome, Lieutenant. Although, to be completely fair, I didn't select you for this mission. You were selected by the Fleet Admiral, so don't let that slow you down, though.
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
And try to just dial back on the sirs, like 2 notches.
Okay.
I remember being like that once.
Oh, me too.
You can probably like just outright hear what she said too. So.
Captain,
right.
you're going to start getting an extensive list of recommendations for additional refits when we get back to port from the science officer station. Just like they start ticking in.
Ticker tape.
He doesn't waste any time at all. I mean, most of these refits are already scheduled, but I don't have the heart to tell him.
Just pretend like they were his idea.
And Williams taps his comm badge. Williams, this is Russ.
Yes, Captain.
I just received your recommendations for refits. Very thorough. I plan to pass them on to Fleet Command immediately.
At your leisure, sir. You are the captain. I am just again excited for a chance to contribute to the joining of our two cultures.
Very good. Williams out.
All right.
He's eager.
And with that, everybody, it's time for the big experiment, which if there haven't been enough red flags already, I think you know where this is going. So we start with an exterior view of the ship, which again is an Aspero-class carrier. Now, those who don't know what an Aspero-class carrier looks like, I refer you to the introductory video I played at the beginning of the stream. But in general, it's a Cation-designed carrier, sort of is a elongated, not a cylinder, but sort of a trapezoidal construction in the middle. And then it has two Battlestar Galactica-style pods towards the back, where the actual hangar bays are located. But we sort of see an exterior view of the Euthenia as it moves away from Deep Space October. And from its main deflector array, we begin to see a glow. And two things begin to happen simultaneously. The first is that a literal wormhole is being torn into space-time before the ship. The other thing is that the ship itself is decreasing in size. And narratively, as we go back to the bridge, what happens is Commander Rash is, reading it out. Micro wormhole generation is solid. Subspace compression anomaly being handled well by the polarized hull plating. We should be able to maintain this size for approximately 30 seconds, which is all we'll need to get through. Just need your order, sir.
Hell, take us in.
All right. And as the little shrunken down version of the Euthenia moves into the micro wormhole, the transition in past the threshold goes fine. But the moment, and this is where complications are going to start happening, the moment you are through completely into the wormhole itself, the entire ship lurches and does a 360 spin end over end, so frontwards over backwards. And some of you, the inertial dampeners don't work, so some of you go for a loop a little bit. Some of you actually are flung out of your seats, maybe even onto the lower levels. But as you all sort of catch yourselves, or, those of you that are buckled in, alarms begin sounding, Rash begins shouting, sir, the polarized hull plating, it's causing a cascading effect. We need to abort. We need to abort right now.
Very good. Abort.
Captain.
And Dag, since you are at the helm, it's time for you to do a very difficult roll. So, this is, with the complications on the field, this is going to be a difficulty of 5. You are going to be rolling me, just roll me how many d20 in chat you want to roll, so since you're working on a different character sheet than everybody else at the moment. Yeah, difficulty of 5, you would have a focus. I will say that your total range there is a 13 or lower with a crit on a 3.
Can I assist?
If you tell me how.
So, Commander Sir Russ would like to contact the captain. Captain, I believe I can assist with stabilizing the ship if I intensify the non-linear quantum imaging equalizer. And I'm just going to be sprinting as I say this. I'm obviously asking for permission to do it, but I'm sprinting over to the engineering station. And I would like to call upon my power systems and the fact that I'm the Cation Federation specialist that I can assist with just like stabilizing the ship, so that like like the inertial dampeners or something like that. I'm like helping stabilize the ship. Yeah,
Sure. You may assist with a control and a science on your part.
do that.
But yeah, Dag, how much does our eager young lieutenant want to roll here? You do have 2 momentum by my count.
And
And you just got 2 successes from Sarus as well. Very nice.
Very nice. Wow. So I'm just rolling from the dice roller, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And it's 2d20.
Well, do you want to, because you would have to crit on both die in order to succeed. So do you want to spend for more with momentum?
Yeah, I'll spend 1 momentum for a 3rd die.
Alrighty. Let's see what happens. All right, actually, wow, that is 4, 6, 7 successes. Very nice. So you guys actually get 2 momentum back.
Nice.
So yeah, Sarus, you working together with Rash and our young plucky lieutenant, you all begin to stabilize the ship. However, and this is where one of those complications comes into play, there's a sudden surge in the EPS conduits that are routed towards the stations in front of Williams, and every single station that is currently being run by someone in front of Williams blows out in a shower of sparks. In fact, Williams, you have to like throw up your arm to shield yourself, but the lieutenant, a few ensigns, they're on the floor, not moving, and if that wasn't bad enough, the other complication is going to be that some of the science stations begin to blow out, some of the engineering consoles begin to blow out, and what you see out of the main view screen is just a tumultuous affair of swirling particles of deep purples and deep blues, and then there's one final lurch as everything comes to a stop, and then you're looking at normal stars again. Now, originally, had you guys failed that roll, I was going to roll for how many breaches you guys would have gotten, but with 7 freaking successes to start this game off with, I'm actually only going to let you guys off with just 1 breach. So let me roll what that breach is, and we'll treat it as appropriate. Alright, so our system hit is going to be to structure, so do note that on the sheet. And whenever you get a structure breach, I do have to roll a challenge dice to see if it's an effect. Alright, so nobody that is named has been injured. But yeah, Williams, you're looking at 3 unconscious bodies right now.
And I think, if I can flavor it a little bit, he actually had to throw himself to the floor to avoid the plasma explosion. But as soon as he gets up, he'll slap his comm badge. Williams to sick bay. Medical emergency on the bridge.
Understood.
And to give Dag time to change costume. As everybody, picks themselves up and starts to look over the readouts, I think it's very obvious, out of character, you guys know what this is, but you are not where you should be.
Captain, I have some slightly disconcerting news, but there is an old Earth saying. It says, relinquish your attachment to the known, step into the unknown, and you will step into a field of possibilities. The good news is we have stepped into the unknown. We are deep in the Delta Quadrant. The bad news, well, that is the bad news. We're in the Delta Quadrant. But the good news is possibilities, new experiences. It'll be good.
Stecco's going to go to a console and try and verify what he's saying.
Yeah.
You're a little bit closer to the Beta Quadrant than you are to the Delta Quadrant, but same neighborhood.
He's right. Sir, we're towing the line of the Beta Quadrant, but we got dumped in the Delta Quadrant.
Do we have any idea how far we are?
Astrometrics calculating, Russ?
Do I make a check for that?
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead and do a reason science or a reason con, difficulty of 1.
Reason, science, focus of sensor use.
Would apply.
I will spend 1 momentum because why not?
Alrighty.
I have no.
Now we roll the complications.
Hold on.
That's how this
When I
works.
spend a momentum, because I have cautious science, I can re-roll one of my dice.
All right, just
I
don't
will
roll
do
another
that.
20.
I will roll that. Yikes. All right, so that will be reason, science, with a focus. Significantly better.
There you go. So you actually get a momentum back for your troubles.
Captain, I'm
So
having some trouble, but I believe we are.
GM, explain.
you are about 5,100, or not 5,100. You are 51,000 light years away from the Federation. But that also means that you are galactically close to the galactic barrier, which is why I now turn my attention to a certain Betazoid. So Stetco, I don't think we've ever really discussed this on Deep Space October, but how pronounced would you say Stetco's empathic abilities are?
They are very pronounced, and she has spent significant time trying to refine them.
Okay. Then in that instance, what you're going to feel is it's not quite an overbearing weight. It's more like a constant white noise that you're beginning to sense, but it's a pressure rather than a noise. So it's kind of like just something is bearing down on you. And it's coming from every direction. And you kind of look around trying to figure out who it's coming from, but you can't pinpoint it to any one individual in particular.
So she'll run a full sensor. I don't even know if sensors are up, but she will attempt to try and do a sensor sweep around them.
Okay. Why don't you roll me a reason and a security on your part, and the Euthenia will assist you with a sensors and science, difficulty of 2. So someone wants to grab the ship?
You said sensor science?
Sensor science, you got it.
I got it.
Starship security systems? Or
Would
that
apply here.
metal-
I'd give it to you.
Okay.
All right, there's one from the ship. All right, but it doesn't matter, unfortunately, because Stetco didn't get any successes. So, yeah, Stetco, besides what you've already been told about your location, nothing new pops up on sensors.
So when you say galactic barrier, you mean where the galaxy ends and where dark space begins?
Correct,
Is that
yeah. So
right?
I guess I should explain that a little bit of out of character for those who don't really watch the original series. So it is canon in the Star Trek universe, and even in my little universe, that there is an energy barrier that surrounds the Milky Way. And the reason for why that barrier is there is something that I've alluded to a few times, but in character, nobody knows.
So she'll try and I think she would immediately try and justify it as hey, we just took a big leap across the entire pond, and this is probably a realignment of something that's going on. But after not picking up anything on the sensors, she would go check on the captain first and not really let him know she was sensing anything seriously immediately.
And I think at that, Williams will be picking himself up and resuming his seat, but will turn his attention actually to Commander Rash and say, Commander Rash, what went wrong?
And you see her just staring dumbfounded at the screen before her. I don't mean this to sound the wrong way, Captain, but how familiar are you with quantum mechanics?
Commander, pretend I don't know anything about it.
Okay, I have to pretend I'm talking to a 5-year-old then. All right, I've trained for this. I can do this. Imagine we were a really big truck, right? And we were hauling a really heavy load. And that load wasn't balanced properly, so that when we were supposed to come to a stop, the weight of the load we were carrying flung us past where we were supposed to be.
Commander, are you telling me that... Is it possible that, the subspace compression wave shrunk our dimensions, our mass remained the same?
Let's just say we were supposed to be X units. We were X plus 50 units. Which threw everything off. Frankly, I know we're kind of stranded in the Delta Beta quadrants right now, but she kind of looks around. I'm sort of glad my polarized hull plating actually held up. I mean, getting my readouts, I'm not seeing... a few emergency bulkheads were sealed off there, but no, I'm not seeing any casualty reports, although the good doctor there probably knows more about that. And is at this point, the DAG, if you want to introduce your actual character as you step onto the bridge.
Dr. Ray Razib is an Edojan introduced on the animated series. They have 3 legs and 3 arms, and they're very orange. Bright yellow eyes with veritable slits. Ray basically gets off the turbo lift and charges in, all 3 feet pounding, tricorder in hands, and a hypo spray. Out of my way, out of my way. Let's see. Who needs it first, Captain?
Well, Major, any of these people on the floor?
Yes, sir. And Razib will go down and scan for whoever's the most worst off.
Well, Mr. Ensign or Mr. Lieutenant, the nice plucky red shirt. Yeah, he ain't gonna make it.
All right, well, we'll go to the ones that will.
Yeah, the ensigns got off a little bit easier, but they're still gonna need a little bit of time in sickbay.
I can stabilize these 2, but the junior lieutenant there, he's not going to make it, Captain.
Understood, Doctor.
And Razib will call sickbay and ask for an emergency beam out for all 3, with the lieutenant junior grade to be beamed into stasis in the sickbay.
So Razib and the 3 individuals beam away, leaving Stetko and Williams again on the bridge.
Are you okay? Be honest.
Physically, yes. I'm fine. Commander, we need a damage report. I need to know how many people are injured, what works and what doesn't.
We're compiling now, sir. Think you should know. When we landed here, I've never felt anything this strong, but there's something with us here, and I don't know where.
Can you tell if it has any sort of defined psychology?
It feels like a warm blanket when you don't need it.
So,
just covering my entire abilities.
Well, I suppose my follow-up question would be in a comforting way or a smothering way?
The latter, I'm afraid. In fact, I can't even tell how you're feeling right now.
Well, I'm concerned, Commander.
As am I. But a feeling is a feeling.
Yes, for now we need to operate on what we know for certain. Can we perform a sensor sweep of the area? Are there any other ships, spatial bodies, any anomalies that can be detected?
Would I be able, GM, to like roll that information into her previous roll? Sensor sweep?
What I would say is I think if Sarus hears that, he probably will have those points of interest I mentioned earlier.
Oh, of course I hear that. The ship's designed for my species. I overhear all conversations. Just pretend like I don't. Yeah.
Captain, Commander Sarus to the captain.
Yes, Russ, go ahead.
I apologize. I was overhearing your conversation with the commander. I have picked up 3 points of interest in the surrounding area.
And I will explain those to you. There's a handout, right, ELH?
Yeah, there is. And make sure you say it for the stream as well, because unfortunately the stream's not going to see the handout.
Let's see. That was the... Where am I not seeing it?
Should just
Points of
be
interest?
the points of
There are
interest.
3 points of interest. There is a quaternary star system with signs of rubidium, tritium, hexafluorine gas, and uranium. There is also a blue giant system with a single class J planet with, dare I say, copious amounts of tetrazine gas and veterion particles. Also and most peculiar, that cannot be right, revelations? There is a space station of some unknown configuration, and despite the computer not knowing its configuration, it is reading as Revelations 216 Deep Space Station.
Revelations 2:16.
I am not completely up to date on my Earth ancient religions, but I believe that was from an old book, something called the Bible or something like that.
Yes, Commander, the Bible.
Yes, that's the one.
And the title of the book itself is actually Revelation. Revelation 2:16. Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. Interesting. Are we within communication range of the station?
I don't know, GM, are we?
You're about 40 light years distant from all 3 points of interest, but you could attempt to hail the station from where you are, yes.
We are a bit far away, Captain, roughly 40 light years, but I could attempt to raise communications.
No. First things first, we need to square ourselves away as best we can and see what it is we have to do to get underway again.
I fully agree.
Stecco would have been trying to compile a report of the state of the ship for him, if she's able to get that.
You are, and Stetco, again, since you guys succeeded so well in the roll, I mean, there's maybe about, I would say, 20 casualties, but only the one fatality so far, and just the one breach to structure, so... Actually, remember that sort of emergency bulkhead that we talked about initially that was blocking off the men's restroom? Well, now that men's restroom is no longer there, so it's a good thing the emergency bulkhead is.
So reports are coming in. 20 casualties, only one fatality. We did have a breach to a bulkhead, the same one as mentioned before. Luckily, it was repaired.
Well, lucky that bulkhead decided to come in for work today.
And at this, you hear a chirp from Commander Rash and says, Captain, I'd like to offer a second opinion on this deep space station, if you will.
Of course, Commander. Go ahead.
Well, you were speculating that it was Revelation 2:16. What if it's Revelation 21:6?
21:6.
Why would any life form here in this area of space know anything about some historical document from Earth history?
Well, I believe that might be contained in the verse itself, if you'll permit me. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely.
An offer for aid, then, perhaps.
That, or
Terrible
we're
vengeance.
dealing with something far more ancient than I even want to think about.
Well, we aren't dealing with it yet, and we won't be until we lay over and make some repairs.
Sir, I recommend we go to the system see if there's any resources we could gather.
Yes, Russ, you mentioned a quaternary system with some sources of tritanium and duranium.
Yes, Captain. Rubidium, tritium, hexafluorine gas, and a rather large amount of duranium as well.
Well, we're going to need many of those things to repair the hull.
All of them, Captain.
Well, then this sounds like as good a place as any. Who's at the helm right now?
Some random red shirt that came running up when the initial helm officer departed this world. So some new red shirt.
Sure. We'll just say Ensign.
Sir?
Set course for the quaternary star system and engage at the maximum safe warp.
Aye, sir. And as we see the external view of the Euthenia go to warp, that's where we're going to take our 5 to 10 minute break. So we'll be back shortly, everybody. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of the series premiere of Star Trek Euthenia. If you're just tuning in, well, there's no easy way to say it. Experiment went wrong, and now the ship and crew are stranded in the Delta Quadrant / Beta Quadrant over 50,000 light years away from home. And we're going to resume our little session with a hastily put together senior staff meeting about an hour later after the arrival at their new position towards the ends of the galaxy. But Captain Williams is there, Commander Stetko, Major Razib, Commander Rash, Commander Sarus. All of you are present and at this meeting. Now, the beauty of this conference room is that it can seat a variable number of officers. Right now, it's in the 5-officer configuration, which means that the table is smaller, there's only 5 seats available, etc., etc.
Major, what are the status of our casualties?
The 20 to C star being in stasis, however, we don't have enough stasis tubes for all of them.
I was under the impression that there was only one fatality.
Hold on. Nope, that's the wrong report. That was from zoology. Yes, it was just the young lieutenant junior grade, Corey. He suffered extensive burns to his face and limbs and did not recover. The other 2 ensigns are recovering fine in biobeds.
Excellent. Commander Rash, we may want to pull the logs from the helm when Lieutenant Corey was in there. I believe he utilized an interesting maneuver to get us out of the wormhole. You may want to integrate that for our return trip, whenever that will be.
You see Rash grimace at that, and it's not a fun grimace either. It's almost like a full-on cringe, if I could go that far. But wincing, she says, about that, Captain, this isn't so much a good news, bad news, as it's just bad news, bad news. Basically what the ensign did is, you're familiar with how you can destabilize a warp bubble by channeling some of the energy in the Bassard collectors.
Right.
He basically pulled off a combination of the Picard and Riker maneuvers, which, honestly, if he was still here, I figure we'd name it after him. Maybe we still will, but that kind of goes to the really bad news, and you can see she's hesitating very heavily at this point. I don't think we can repeat the experiment and just go back home. I think we're gonna have to take the long road here.
Well, based on the reports, we have nowhere near the QSD capability.
And if that wasn't bad enough, we don't have any Benamite aboard. So...
Of course we don't.
Yeah, I mean, if you get me some stores of Benamite, I might be able to get us a few 300 light year jumps, but yeah, at the moment we're stuck at conventional warp.
All right. Well, what's the status of the Midas array?
Operational, but after what we went through, I'm very hesitant about putting that much power into anything right now.
Well, that's certainly a lot to think about. Commander Stetko, any recommendations? I'd love some right about now.
Well, although we're nowhere near the path that Voyager took across the galaxy, I'm sure we could learn a thing or two from their records. Not suggesting we crack it open before bed every night, but perhaps we could look to reference some nuggets from their logs. I will admit I feel as though I'm a bit at a disadvantage right now with, well, whatever is out there. And just so the rest of you are informed, as soon as we landed where we did, I started to detect a empathic presence that was overwhelming, and it's still there.
Do you need a psilocyanine disinhibitor?
Thank you, Doctor, but I prefer not to.
Well, if we're here for the long haul, Commander Russ, can you estimate for me how long it will take to integrate conventional Starfleet weaponry into this Cation design? We're hopelessly and hilariously outgunned right now by virtually anything.
Well, Captain,
And Russ is going to have a tablet come out from his tail up in front of him. And
I believe it will take, GM, how long will it take?
Well, if you had all the supplies in the world, it would probably take you about a month and a half.
Well, the good news is, Captain, we can likely get it done within a month and a half, if we had all the proper supplies, which we do not.
Right.
But I believe we can find it. If you're open to a suggestion, Captain.
Of course, Commander, that's the express purpose of these meetings.
Brilliant. I love the way that everyone collaborates within the Federation. It is... Forgive me, I digress. But I believe we should just begin our journey home. I was reading up during our, just before our meeting now, on a ship by the name of Voyager, I believe it was called, and they were in a similar predicament at one time, and they simply began the journey home, and as the fates or luck or whatever entities exist beyond space and time deemed necessary, they found their way home. Perhaps we should think of this as just a great adventure.
Well, that attitude is in keeping with the highest traditions of Starfleet. I fully intend on beginning the journey home as soon as we've repaired the immediate damage to our hull.
We may find conduits from other races in the space between us and our destination, as Voyager did. We may need to engage in diplomatic negotiations in order to use these conduits.
Very true, Commander, and in those instances, I'll be relying on you.
Well, I think the further we get away from the galactic barrier, the better asset I might be for you, sir.
Commander, if I may, and I do not mean to pry into your personal affairs, but can you elaborate upon this entity you mentioned? I was not sure if you meant simply the vastness of space or something more maligned.
GM, would there be any emotion or any presence other than just a feeling? Would she get Like there's like a mind behind it or something, or is it just like
What I would
as
say
as you
is
described it?
right. What I would say is you can do either an insight and command, or an insight and con. And if you have empathy as a focus, which I hope you do, you may apply that as a focus or anything similar to it. The difficulty on this will be a 2.
She has empathy as a talent.
What do you have in terms of like people reading then as a focus?
Behavioral analysis.
That'll work.
Nice.
Might I suggest you spend a momentum?
Sure, what am I rolling again? Sorry.
You're rolling either insight and con or insight and command.
Insight. They're the same.
Can
And-
Razib be like surreptitiously or not scanning?
Yeah, you know what? If you want to assist, you can do a reason medicine on your part.
Shoot. What was that roll again? I'm gonna spend momentum.
No, you're fine.
Insight?
It's an insight and command or an insight and con, and it's a difficulty of 2. And
Okay.
you are spending 1 die to roll 3 dice.
Yes. Okay. Man, didn't even take a week off.
All right,
No.
hey, that's already 3 successes. Very
Nice.
nice. And let's see if Razib gets you
I'll
any
focus
successes.
in xenobiology.
I'll give it to you in this instance. All right, so, well, we only take the first one, so that is a total of 4
Oops.
successes, so you get 2 momentum back. So, it is a presence, Stetco, but if I were to compare it to anything that Stetco, at least is what I know of Stetco's experience, this would be the equivalent of getting an emotional state from, like, a planet or a star or some cosmically large object that, by all rights, shouldn't have a presence. And all of this energy, all of this presence, all of this pressure is coming from the direction of the galactic barrier.
Well, Commander, to answer your question, when we first landed where we did, I felt as though it was sort of omnipotent and everywhere. It was a strong pressure. It was something I couldn't put a name to. And as the minutes passed on and as I sat in this very chair, even now I start to sense more of a directional origin of it. It's like I have a built-in compass.
And Commander, where is it coming from? What direction?
It's coming from beyond the galactic barrier.
At that, Russ is going to turn to the Major Razib? Razib? Say that right? Razib? Yes.
Razib.
Razib, forgive me. You know how names can be. If you would not mind sending me the medical scans that you are taking of the commander, at your permission, Commander, I would like to cross-reference them with some of the scans I picked up when we first arrived here. Perhaps I can help pinpoint where this being is situated.
Commander, they're your medical scans.
As long as you share them with me first, I have no issue with that.
GM, did I get any readings from my assist at all?
You
Elevated
did, and I know,
psilocybin.
Dag, you know this already, but you know how that anybody with empathic or telepathic ability kind of ramps up the closer you get to that barrier? Yeah, you're definitely seeing Stetco's abilities are actually heightening rather than being drowned out.
Can I cross-reference with historical data?
You may use your Dag out of character knowledge, yes.
Well, I can share it with you here, or I can go back to sickbay and share it with you there.
Just out with it.
Your psilocyanine levels are off the chart. You're probably going to be feeling very nauseous as you start tuning yourself towards the voices in the crew and perhaps not being able to tune those out immediately. So isolation is probably a good thing to have. Are you familiar with the Earth person Gary Mitchell? Captain? Commander?
Would she be? Because I don't know.
I mean, that's totally your call whether you know them out of character or not. So,
The USS Enterprise encountered the galactic barrier in 2266, and one of the individuals on board had an ESP reading that was off the chart, and he ended up developing, destructive Q-like powers. Very fascinating, really. I wish we had a biological sample, but they didn't really do good recordings back then.
Right.
Anyway, if you feel any, self-destructive or condescending tendencies, let me know. I might have a pill for that or some leeches.
sorry, Major. Are you suggesting that she's gonna go and are we gonna need like a big rock? Because isn't that how they got rid of Mitchell? Was a big rock?
I'm impressed somebody else here reads the reports. We don't have access to any rocks. We might be able to replicate one, but, that commander's discretion, of course.
Major, are these elevated psilocyanine levels dangerous? I mean, apart from the, I suppose, potential psychoses you're describing, is it neurologically damaging for Commander Statko to have these levels?
Unless her process manifests in a heightened fortitude to be able to handle these processes and these incoming patterns, yes. It would overload your neural wiring, and you would probably suffer an aneurysm or two, if not full cerebral shock.
I feel fine right now, other than this presence.
Well, be that as it may, Commander, the first sign of physical discomfort, pain, I'd like you to inform the doctor.
Of course.
For the moment, I think all that we can do is try to get a handle on our situation, and once we're ready, get underway. Are there any questions?
No, Captain, but remember, how can we know what we are capable of until we brace the unknown?
And Saras is just going to look really happy at his statement.
Unknown is terrifying. Death and destruction, godlike telepaths.
Every mention of that, his tail flicks more excitedly. He's super excited.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Exciting.
Yes.
Lethal.
Well, it may not have been our original mission profile, but now that we're out here, we do have a duty to expand our scientific knowledge as much as we can.
It's at that moment that Dorothy, again, your little AI component that's doing the computers, actually kind of winks into existence and says, I was waiting for a really good opportunity to jump in on that. Sorry, Captain. So you know that quaternary star system? You know, the one with 4 stars in it?
Yes.
I think you're going to want to see this. And she kind of motions as if, like, giving water to someone, and the holo projector at the middle of the conference table lights up and begins to project an image, or basically a symbolic reference of the system. And I'll put it on screen so everybody can kind of zoom in and out. But basically what you're looking at is 2 pairs of binary stars that are encircling what appears to be a neutronium structure. And Dorothy goes on to explain, well, right there we have 2 neutron stars. One has captured a Class O star. Nothing really notable about that. A Class T star on the other neutron star. But this neutronium structure in the middle has me interested. Here, Surus, what do you think about this before I say the wrong thing to the captain? And Surus, if you look at in Roll20, the handout under the points of interest folder should be the E47 handout, is what you're seeing.
Interesting. Usually a large object in space is spherical, but the structure, the neutronium structure in the center of this star system is a cube. Oh, I hope it's not the Borg, although that would be exciting.
Do we have any idea on the dimensions of this structure?
Roughly 4 AUs in diameter.
A little bit big for the Borg. Any discernible power readings, life signs? I know we're quite far away, but...
I am not picking anything up, unfortunately, at this distance. We would have to get a bit closer. However, there are several Class D and Class J planets that would be suitable for mining for resources.
Well, I suppose it's a good thing we're headed there first.
And I think Rash would kind of look, kind of stroke her chin at this as she stares at the hologram above the table. How do you want to handle this, Captain? Do we want to take the Euthenia in to check out the structure itself, or do we want to park the Euthenia near that Class O so that it's easier to get the mining materials back, or...?
If I may, Captain, make a suggestion.
Please.
The ship is equipped with a rather robust fleet of fighters that could act as scouting vessels. I would suggest we allow the main vessel to begin mining operations and repairs, and then a small crew goes out to investigate the cubicle structure.
It's an excellent suggestion. Commander Stecco, what do you think?
So out of character, I was kind of choking on a drink. In character, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm having trouble concentrating right now.
Commander Russ was just suggesting that we use the Euthenia to begin mining operations on several of these planets to get some materials that would be beneficial to us, and that we assemble a crew in a shuttlecraft to investigate this neutronium structure.
I see no wrinkles in that plan at all. I think we certainly do need to begin gathering resources. We have a long haul.
Well, in that case, yes, Russ, you don't need to raise your hand.
Oh, yes. If I may, Captain, I would like to request to be on the, I believe they call it an away, a far mission or something of this nature.
Yes, you'd like to be on the away team. I understand, but that isn't my decision. It's Commander Stecco's.
Very good.
Pivots to Commander Stecco.
I wish to be on the away mission.
I can think of no one better suited.
Thank you.
Commander, if you will, I believe I have 2 treatments for you that may ease your discomfort. You take the blue vial, it's a psilocybin inhibitor. It just reduces everything that's happening to you. Take the red vial, and it's a GABA A receptor disinhibitor, and it will actually open you up to everything while also fortifying your nervous structure. Your choice.
And Dorothy's saying to no one in particular, which one gives her kung fu?
The green pill.
Well, Dorothy, she's already extremely well trained in hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, sorry, I was referencing an old Earth media.
Oh, well. Have you expanded your repertoire beyond The Wizard of Oz?
Yes, actually. I'm rather enamored with something called The Matrix right now. Apparently there were a number of films. I'll tell you about that later. If you want, Captain, I can tell the rest of the crew to get us moving towards the system.
By all means.
Very good.
At your mention of there was only one, Sir Russ will say,
Actually, there were 37.
They
Dorothy
weren't very
just
good after the 20th.
No, 25 was actually quite enjoyable. It is one of the films I watched when I was in. And then I yelled.
Excuse me, I'm waiting for the commander and my patient to make a choice here.
So the blue pill makes me numb. The red pill basically optimizes my nervous system.
Yes.
All right. So she'll take the red pill. I can't take the blue pill, okay? I just can't do it. Narratively.
The catalyst in there should be active within 12 to 15 minutes. If you feel jittery or anything, just have a warm milk.
Russ's tail. The mention of warm milk.
Say.
Wait, is that a tradition before an away mission? Warm milk?
If you feel like you're going to be nauseated, yes.
And if I don't,
You can still have it, it won't hurt.
I'm going to love Starfleet.
Captain, I have a number of experiments that were affected by our transit. Permission to be dismissed.
same here, sir. I've got a lot of repairs I got to oversee. Unless Stetko, do you want me on the away mission? Because if not, I kind of think I need to stay here and supervise repairs.
I would say you stay here, Rush.
All right. All right.
Russ and I and a few others will get her done.
Well, then there's nothing else. I'll adjourn the meeting.
So,
And,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask GM, could we make sure that Dorothy not only informs the helm to set course for the Quaternary star system, but until Russ gets back the science section, we want scans of the system to determine if there are any signs of intelligent life apart from the structure, if the structure's inhabited.
So, we're going to skip ahead just a little bit. Not too long, but we'll skip ahead maybe a day and a half when you finally come up on the system. And as discussed, you'll put the Euthenia near the Classo star that it can start mining things. And what I would tell you is that, you remember that spreadsheet I pointed out at the beginning of the session, at least offline? You can now mark, as part of your mining operations, you can mark 1 in rubidium, tritanium, hexafluorine gas, and uranium. And do let me know if you can't edit it. But
resources.
in terms of the signs of life, what you actually do notice once you get into the system proper is that there is what appears to be a landing bay set center stage on one of the sides of the neutronium cube. And it just is kind of pulsating with like running lights like you might find at an airport. And it's just almost like a beckoning call inward.
This is on the away mission that we're
This
on?
is before you send out the away mission.
Ah, I believe there is an old Klingon saying, never look a gift targ in the mouth. So, I think we should go in.
Where's the spreadsheet?
If you look at the crafting list, if you pull up that handout, the main spreadsheet link should be a hyperlink in there.
It's in a handout.
Yeah,
I'm
I've got
in
I've marked
Okay.
I've marked it with what we've got from what we will rather get from the Quaternary system.
Okay, and what's blinking?
What's blinking is basically running lights towards a landing bay on the surface of the neutronium cube.
Oh. Okay. So that is definitely a sign of life. Or a sign of something being there. So Stecco will assemble the away team and I'm guessing RJ is going to be staying on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before we assemble the away team, can somebody, one of you guys, make a roll to see if we can open hailing frequencies
Yeah.
to the structure, just to see if it's inhabited or at least an automated message?
Happy to do it. What
Yeah,
should I
we
roll,
can-
GM?
Well, I think you're at 5 momentum, so I don't think you need to do it. As far as at least in terms of a roll, but as an action, yeah, you open up hailing frequencies and you actually do get a message back. It's a very short message. It simply says, "Welcome to the Library of Babel."
Huh.
Captain, it has welcomed us to the Library of Babel.
That's Babel, sir.
That is what I said.
It's not what I heard.
Babel.
Humans and their poor hearing. It is truly a shame.
Another reference to ancient Earth mythology. But a library is encouraging. It could be a wealth of information, Commander.
As long as we're not detecting life signs, I see no harm.
And, sorry, Jim, have we detected any life signs aboard? Or?
No, unfortunately not.
Well, Commander, assemble your away team and stay in contact with the ship.
All right. So obviously Stutko and Russ are going, but who else is going on the away mission?
Who is
I was gonna say I think Razib is going to be doing things to Tribbles, at least by my count.
I mean, certainly. I mean, why Razib could be doing that. Although if there's a library, there may be a medical index as well, which could be of interest to him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think, Dag? You gonna come along, or
You'll hear a channel open. Captain, I'm sorry, I was monitoring bridge frequencies. Did you say something about a medical index?
Well, Major, we've discovered what appears to be a repository of knowledge. Commander Setko is going to be leading an away team over there to see what we can find out.
I'll meet you in transporter room 2. And he skitters away.
Major, we are taking a oh, he's gone.
Yeah. Commander Setko, before you leave, let him know that you're taking a shuttle.
I've actually handled that for you already, sir. You hear Dorothy's ephemeral voice kind of chip in.
Dorothy, what would I do without you?
Well, you would forget that now is your afternoon tea time, though if you wish to reschedule, that is perfectly acceptable.
I think, given the present circumstances, we'll delay that indefinitely.
Very good. All right. So, as we see the Euthenia, we see a bunch of support craft kind of go out towards the different planets and begin to collect materials. We see one of the Shakaris escorts, which is basically the Cation form of a runabout. We see one of those escorts begin to fly towards the neutronium structure. And the structure itself, again, is a very, very large cube. 4AU is basically 4 times the distance between the sun and the Earth. So it's a huge cube. But as you get closer and closer and the cube gets more and more looming on the view screen, you do navigate towards that pathway of light. And you are led into a landing bay that very quickly opens up into a library, which means I can now put you guys on this map.
Ooh.
Now, when I say library, I mean quite literally a library. There is a mirrored floor on which there are seated a bunch of reading desks, reading nooks, things of that nature, lamps, lighting sources. But floor to ceiling in a curved fashion are rows upon endless rows of books. And you kind of squint and try to look as far as you can. This passageway, this room of books, seems to stretch on forever from what you're seeing.
I would like to take some preliminary scans and see if I can determine the structural makeup, both of the room as well as the novels and books contained within.
Go ahead and roll me a Reason Science difficulty of 2.
Like to spend 1 momentum because we have 5.
All right.
Reason and Science. 3d20 autofocus. Skadoosh.
That's 4 successes, so you actually get 2 momentum back.
Fantastic.
So you're gonna know the following. Everything you're scanning is Earth contemporary, which means the books are paper and binding material you would find on Earth. The desks, classical Earth wood. The lamps, same sort of electrical design there. This shouldn't be out here. This shouldn't be here in a place like this. But with that many successes, you do get a free question as well as science officer. So what would your free question like to be?
That's a good. Does anyone have any suggestions of what I should ask? I'd like to go out to the. I'd like to phone a friend. Ask the audience.
My first 2 thoughts were either it's a simulation or is this stuff like biologically Earth
That's
stuff.
what I was going for too. I like it, Dax.
Or do we know or recognize the external structure of the neutronium structure? Like, would we recognize its architecture?
I have my question. I would like to know if this is if the structural makeup of these books in the interior, if it's recently changed or if it has been like this for an extended amount of time.
All right.
Urban dating.
So your readings suggest that this library has been perfectly preserved for, well, that date can't be right. That date would suggest the universe isn't that old.
Commander, it would appear that this structure and the, endless amount of written material contained within it has existed since before the dawn of time. At your permission, I would like to analyze a bit closer one of the books.
I see no harm in further investigation. I don't think we detected any life signs here. But
Yep,
be
just
careful.
you 3.
I'm going to stay close to the group, and I'd like to go to the closest bookshelf and look for a whatever book is red, a red-looking book.
All right. So, Wolf, I've given you specifically access to the Library of Babel handout. And after reading that book and scanning it, you will have that information that is detailed in the handout. But so you have time to read it. So Stetko and Razib, Stetko, you're feeling actually that presence. You don't know if it's the new drug that the doctor gave you or if the presence is pulling back, whatever it may be. It's lessening somewhat. I would say it's about half what it was before coming into the cube.
Razib, whatever was in that treatment seems to be helping. I'm feeling some relief. Maybe it's a placebo effect, or maybe it's something to do with this huge mega structure.
Did they have a briefing on what the material of the megastructure was?
Did we know that, or is it literally neutronium?
Oh, it's literally neutronium.
Okay.
The neutronium may be having a blocking effect as well, which is magnifying the serum that I gave you.
Okay. Well, in any case, I feel much more clear-headed. She would go to like one of the desks or the sitting areas to see if there's any like documentation other than like the books themselves.
Right. And what I would say is that the books you're looking at, now that you've actually got up closer to one, Stetko, none of the covers make any sense. It's almost like gibberish. Or, you kind of pick something up and it's like somebody put a cat on a keyboard, if you'll pardon the pun. someone took a cat and slammed it on the keyboard a few times or just let the cat walk across it, like, it's not anything coherent, and that's consistent with each book you pick up. It's just like, what is this? I mean, it's in Earth text. I mean, it is in English characters, but none of it makes any sense. And I believe, Dare Wolf, that is where you would jump in with your new information.
Commander, this may seem... Well, if I've learned anything voyaging through space, it's to expect the unexpected. But this structure literally contains every possible written book that is in existence or would ever exist. It is the most... By all of the heavens, it is the most comprehensive library that has ever existed and ever will exist.
I almost wonder if this was like procedurally generated for us somehow.
My initial scans do not indicate that. I truly believe this has existed since, the Big Bang.
I would also like to attempt to reason some sort of cataloging structure. So I'm looking at, is it by author? Are there numbers on the books? Is it by color? I'm looking for some kind of uniformity or, noticeable cataloging to the the way the books are like aligned and how they're put on the bookshelves, etc., to see if I can determine where a central point or maybe an index would be located. Like every library has a central, usually has a central hub. We can go to the librarian. I'm looking to see if something like that exists.
So one thing I did is I did give everybody access to the handout so you can kind of all be on the same page here. But in looking for this quote-unquote perfect index, well, Sarus, this is going to be what might be the most difficult role of your career thus far. This is going to be a difficulty of 6, reason and science. I would say that you would have a focus in this endeavor, but it is a difficulty of 6. The good news is that you still have your determination, and you do have full momentum.
So, awesome sauce. This is super exciting. My entire career of an hour and 57 minutes. I'm so excited to be here, everybody. My character sheet closed. So let me get that open back up. I am going to use a determination, and I just have to get my character sheet pulled up so that I can tell you which one it's going to be. I think I know which one I want to use, but let me just double check here. So I would like to call upon my determination, more than whiskers in a tail, no touch, only pets. And I am basically calling on the fact that he may look like a cat, he may act like a cat at times, but he is far more purposeful than just a furry feline. And I will spend that determination. So I have 2 successes. And then, if I remember correctly, in Star Trek Adventures, it's been a hot second, that counts as though I've rolled my first die as 1, correct?
Correct,
And
which
then I have
means
to spend-
additional
okay.
die would be, if you wanted to roll 3 dice, it would be 2 momentum. If you wanted to roll 4 dice, it would be 5 momentum.
I will, if everyone's all right with it, I would like to burn that momentum and roll 5 dice, if that's all right.
I'm not even there, so go ahead.
Reason and science, you said?
Indeed.
All right. Let's see how badly the cat screws this one up. All right. And that's 5d20?
4d20. We automatically assume that the determination is a 1, so we don't need to roll it.
I only need 4 more. Knock on wood. All right. Cat's luck. Focus, yes. And boom.
Wow. That's 9 successes right there, everybody.
What the?
And I thought this was going to be complicated. How simple.
Actually, Sarus, if what you're, putting together in your mind on the tricorder is right, you think that black book on the 3rd shelf from the ceiling, if you can get up there, that might be the index you're looking for.
I'm a cat. Of course I can get up there. Come on. Also, I have to roll a challenge die to see if I get my determination back, because I have
Yeah, because you have veteran.
I do not.
Do not, unfortunately. All
That was
right.
9 successes? No, that was...
That was an incredible roll.
Yeah, so you would have 4 momentum by the end of this. But Sarus, as you go to get that book, when you reach out to grab it, there's not a flash of light, at least not in the way I would describe a Q flash of light, but there's almost like a pulsing darkness. And you all hear a very distinctive sound, which, again, isn't Q-like, but is still distinguishable. And as you hear this noise, a figure appears, standing on the ceiling, directly across from you, Sarus. And she simply looks over at you, her long black hair and the dark sclera of her eyes with red irises. She kind of looks over at you and says, "Well, that took a lot sooner than usual. I was expecting to have to play with you all for days, weeks, months on end. Welcome to the Library of Babel. I'm the librarian. Nice to meet you." And that's where we're going to end today's session because I'm an asshole.
You're killing me. Real quick, Sarus is hanging on the wall. His prehensile tail is like just taking the book out of it, and he's just like, cat caught in headlights. There you go.
That's where we're going to end today's episode. Because, of course, we got to end on a cliffhanger for the first one.
This is crazy.
What a twist.
And yeah, one thing, I'm not going to spoil the total mystery for you all, but basically I went in and did a lot of research into what are some of the really cool thought experiments, what are some of the really cool, like, ancient technology things I could throw at you guys that would make sense. So you're going to be seeing a lot of things like this.
I'm into
it.
And yeah, Elridge Jerry, I don't want to answer that because that might spoil something. But let's just say, chat, you guys, at least some of you are onto something, is what I would say. But yeah, what you guys think in general for the first session? Did you guys have fun? All that lovely jazz?
A lot of fun.
All of the shenanigans.
Loving the new dynamics, loving the new ship, and loving the new characters and the old characters, and the GM. Overall, very good.
Yeah.
Very fun. Good time.
Something that I've always appreciated about Star Trek is literally the core tenets of Starfleet, like to explore the unknown. And right from the get-go, we are plunged into the unknown. And, for me as a player, there's an element of seriousness and real risk to this right now. And that's exciting to explore that. And I think there'll be some opportunities to explore those dynamics. And it's just interesting. The unknown that's what's beautiful about space. So I'm genuinely excited to see what crazy, wild things you throw at us. So thank you for letting me be here, everybody. I'm literally honored to be here. I've been super pumped about this since
we are honored to have you, sir.
I know, baby, I know. All right, there it is.
Also, I really liked how it was out of left field that something empathically like started blocking her like immediately when they landed. I wasn't expecting that, and it was really fun to role play. So
yeah. And there's a reason for that. Again, if you know me, I've dropped many, 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 many hints as to what novels I've read and considered canon. So if you really want to get ahead of the curve, go back and watch all my content. Small challenge that, but
I'll just be surprised.
There you go.
How about that? But overall, very good, and love like using the empathic abilities as like sort of a plot thingy. So totally down. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Well, Twitch and YouTube, I've gone ahead and I've checked out our raid targets. Unfortunately, nobody I feel comfortable on is currently a raid target. So we're just going to end the stream. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week, hopefully. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye, stream.
You guys.